Coming to you from the Nightbreed Studios, it's the Nightbreed Cast, with your hosts, Eyes Adrift and Avago.
Yes, this is the Nightbreed Cast. We're on episode 4, which is freaking amazing. I'm Eyes Adrift.
And Avago.
Yeah, sorry we're a day late. I've got some explaining to do. There was a fundraiser for an animal shelter, and it was at a Mexican restaurant. No, I did not have any tequila. I had a lot of beer, about 4 beers, and then we went to my brother-in-law's, and I had another beer. And by the time I got home, I was pretty wasted, so I was in no condition to record. It would have been really funny, but I wouldn't have had the motor skills to set up my equipment and not damage anything. So
You went to a Mexican restaurant, had Mexican beer, but no tequila.
No tequila. Not my thing. That's why we're late. Also, we were trying to get one of our guild members, actually I was trying to get one of our guild members laid. There was this girl who was single at this place, and me being my charmer and straightforward type of person I am, said, I want to get my friend's dick wet. Are you in? So, yeah, some, words were exchanged, no numbers or anything, but what can you do? Sorry, Dave! And
Oh, Dave.
Dave hasn't been around, so what the fuck, Dave?
Yeah, Dave, where are you?
Jesus.
What the hell?
On with the podcast. Let's see, we have basically one fan, Dustin Donner from YouTube.
Right.
You're awesome. And let's see, trying to decipher what he typed. I know they give you so many characters, but Jesus. Okay, an alternative to multiple guilds. He pretty much backed us up 1 guild per character. We think it count, but that's more than likely not going to happen.
Right.
So, what I would like to see is, instead of people being able to join multiple guilds, if you have a bunch of people in another guild that you like, perhaps a guild alliance with that guild and help each other out.
Right.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it kind of made me think about, the whole multiple guild issue and how to deal with it. Having guild alliances, allegiance, you can swear allegiance to another guild or a group of guilds, or, maybe you create an alliance and then guilds can join that alliance as, a larger group.
Yeah.
I was thinking you could even spin that into, like, say, if you want to limit the number of player-made cities, make them really, really expensive, so that the only way it's going to happen is if you have some type of alliance system where guilds basically have an allegiance to each other, and then they can do that in the city, and that's how you deal with that. Then each guild that is in the alliance could have their own section of the city that they deal with. That way you could have like a crafting section of the town, or whatever. And each guild could have their own section of the city, or whatever you want to call it. But you could also spin that into guild wars, so you have an alliance, and then you could basically declare war on another alliance or another guild.
Yeah,
that could be cool.
I don't know, man, because we're kind of exclusive, and I like to have our own little city. I mean, having a bunch of people, well, here's what you could do, which would be really cool, is have, spinning it from your idea. Have the plots of land be extremely expensive, and then have 4 or 5 guilds pitch in, and then people get their own little, like, it's their city, but on this like little continent that you're sharing with 3 other guilds. I'm not exactly if that's what you were saying, or whatever, but I think that'd be pretty cool. Right.
But I mean, I guess it just all depends on, what you really want to promote as like a city. I mean, like a city like Freeport is not going to be easy. It's not going to be doable by a small guild.
Right.
But if you had a bunch of, and I'm not saying, that it wouldn't be doable, but if you wanted a large player built city, you would have to, do some kind of guild alliance in order to be able to fund it and build it with all the resources and everything.
Yeah.
But if you wanted like a little town, with 20 or 30 houses or, something like that, with maybe like a little guild hall or a keep, and that's all you wanted, that's something completely different. I'm just talking about really large cities.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like have little towns around this area, and then these group of guilds band together, made one giant city for everyone to go to.
Right.
Okay.
So it would be like a huge city with like a marketplace, with a lot of shops and all kinds of stuff.
Right on.
It would be expensive.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Judging by what Dustin said, he doesn't like dictators and bossy, bully, pushy people. So, do you think Dustin would get along in our guild?
I don't know. I don't see us as dictators. We're not pushy. We just have our rules and we stick to them.
Yeah, very much so.
People know what they are up front. They don't like it, they can leave.
Yep.
And outside of that, we're pretty lenient,
We are. I mean, we talk pretty big, but we are pretty damn lenient.
Right. I mean, when it comes to like raiding and things like this, we're like, we're not like you have to be there.
Right.
I mean, I think maybe what he was talking about was
dictating exactly what you do in the game when you do it.
Right, and how you do it. And if you're going to raid, well, like they only need X, Y, and Z class. So, they're not going to let you in unless you are playing this class or whatever.
Right. No,
we don't do that.
No, that's not our bag, baby. No.
No, we're here to have fun. We're here, to help other people have fun and, meet, if they're along for the ride and they have the same goals as we do, great.
Exactly. Yep. So, Dustin, looks like popping an application on our website, which we do not have. By the way, speaking of, our forums got shut down. We haven't been on there in such a long time. They're like,
right. I really need to do something about that.
Right. So maybe we might get a website going on sometime in the future. Who knows?
Right.
But for now, we got the Facebook. So
yeah, you just post something on the Facebook. Maybe we'll just write something up about if you want to join our guild, send this information.
Right.
Whatever.
Email it or something. Yeah. By the way, nightbreedcast@gmail.com and facebook.com/nightbreedcast. That's for the cast. I mean, we've got separate things for the guild as well. So I think we'll use that as kind of like a tiered system where you send something in. If you like our personalities from the show and feel like you want in on this, not the show, but in our little love system thing, the guild.
little love system.
Yes. Then shoot us an email, shoot us a message or something. But another thing that Dustin pointed out was guilds that make players pay to join. I've always thought that was bullshit, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'd never do it. It's complete horseshit, in my opinion.
Yep. And I don't. On the flip side, he said that the guilds should pay him to join.
Right.
Sorry,
I kind of thought about this, and the only thing that we've ever done, we've never actually had people pay.
Right.
But when we were in Star Wars Galaxies, we did have a city tax.
Yes, we did.
Just so that we could fund the city because it was expensive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everybody knew about it, so it wasn't a huge deal. We never forced anybody beyond that to actually give funds to guilds. Now I think it's in WoW.
I don't know
that you can actually in guilds. Well, in some games, I know it's out there. You can actually put a percentage tax on loot.
Interesting.
And some guilds do that so that when you loot, like a tenth of a gold or whatever it is, a tenth of it goes towards the guild. So it kind of increments over time. It's not a huge tax, but it does give money to the guild without, overly taxing the player.
Right, because the guild does need funds.
Right.
That's how you're going to get, like in Star Wars Galaxies, we always helped people out. We didn't give them money like Dustin wants. We would supply them with a house.
Them get items.
Yes, we would supply them with a house or one of their first speeders because we made them.
Right.
And to not really pay us back, but just to, I guess, pay it forward. I guess you would say they would, in turn donate to the guild fund, which whenever they could, which was great because then that helped make the city run smoother, made it bigger. We could pay whatever and continue being awesome.
Right. I mean, for us, it was kind of like, showering them with gifts. Here, have this stuff. Join us. It wasn't, like here, have cash.
Right.
But I mean, we would do things like if somebody, I don't know, we're the kind of guild, like if we run across somebody who's having problems, they can't get something done to get an item or whatever, we'll help them out
Oh, yeah.
to get that item.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times they join the guild because they're like, you know what? A lot of times it's people in another guild.
Yes.
And their guild would never help them, and we help them, and they're like, okay, I'm going to join you guys.
Yep. So for all you opposing guilds out there, you better watch out, because this guy's pretty fucking good at stealing people.
Oh, yeah. Isis is A+ in poaching players from other guilds. That's like 95% of our recruits.
Yeah. And you know what, though? They never look back.
No, they don't.
So
they usually say, I'm glad I left.
Yep. So anyway,
right.
We would shower people with gifts. We wouldn't give them big, giant, lavish houses. It was the starter homes.
Right.
Just some place to store your shit. I mean,
right.
Yeah, because we didn't don't want to spoil you. Because if everything's just handed to you, it's no fun.
Right. But it at least gets them started.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll be able to do stuff like that in EverQuest next.
Hopefully.
It would be kind of cool. Ooh, that would be kind of cool. Since they're going to have so many classes, wouldn't it be kind of cool if they actually had like maybe a beast handler kind of a class that could go out just like in Star Wars Galaxies and actually domesticate mounts, and train them and then sell them to people.
I think that's I think that's what's gonna happen.
I think that'd be very cool.
That was gonna be something we were gonna touch on it towards the end, because we'll go ahead and say now mounts are confirmed. The latest roundtable discussion. So we'll get back to that.
Right.
So I called you Donnie in this next part, but Dustin brought up a couple suggestions on how to stop gold farmers. Have like sting operations where players would actually try to buy gold and let the devs know. So then you'd have, actually that'd be kind of cool, especially on a PvP server. And then like a bunch of people jump him and kick his ass, take his gold, and ban him from the game.
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of that happens through the mail, though.
Yes,
so you never actually see the person.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe they could set up some type of a sting operation with the devs, because they would be able to know immediately once it was sent where it came from.
Oh, yeah.
And locate that person on the server, unless they log off real quick. I don't know.
Right. Well, then he did suggest no mail or trade allowed, only markets. Now, Dustin, we're sorry, but we completely disagree on you with just having markets. We already stated that we like having the vendors.
Right.
But that does bring up, should there be a level requirement to send mail or attachments on mail? What do you think?
Well, maybe. That's a good.
I know, it makes you think, right? Because it's like, you do,
so,
but then you don't, because your alts and shit.
Right. So here's what I think. This is what I think. So if a character is on the same account, there should be no restrictions whatsoever to mailing gold items, what have you.
Bingo.
Period. Doesn't matter. I think there should also that one's tough. I think also if they're in the same guild, shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
Because there is that connection there. But if you have somebody that has no connection to another player, then there should probably be restrictions. And I'm trying to think of, mailing items to somebody is okay, but if you actually have a vendor system where they can go to somebody's house and buy something, you don't really need to mail items to players. And especially if you don't have a global marketplace, then there's no need to be able to mail golden items through the mail to other players. I mean, to be honest, I think you could probably get rid of a lot of gold farmers that way, because then the only way that people would ever do anything is through a direct trade.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that would piss people off because
But
they're so used to the marketplaces and, being able to, send people gold or whatever and buy stuff on the global marketplace, and they get it in their email or their mail in the game.
mm-hmm.
But, I for one am getting really sick and tired of gold farmers.
Yeah.
And I get really sick and tired. There's got to be a spam, so that you can right click on whoever's sending like the gold farming and report it. And the same thing for mail.
Yes.
That's a must, because I hate gold farmers. It destroys the economy. It's horrible.
Absolutely. Actually, when you do the right click, have two separate ignore files. One for annoying ass players that you just don't want to hear. And,
right. There should be an ignore.
Yep. Well, hold on. And then that list be, I don't know, 50 or so players, because they always have caps on them. But the spammer cap, when you ignore those, have that infinite, because they're always out there and they always create more characters. And it's just annoying because then you hit that cap and you go, oh, well, shit, I got to delete all these people. And
well, what I think they ought to do, here's what I think they ought to do. So you have both of them. You have the ignore for just players, and you have a cap on that. And then you have another one, which is report gold farmer spam.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 3. So if they're just spamming, you can right click and report them for spamming, and it ignores them and puts it in like the player list. So it does both, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's a gold farmer selling gold and services, you can right click it, report gold farmer, and that doesn't go into that list. That's an infinite list. But here's what I think they had to do. Once they verify, okay, they look at the message and go, well, yeah, this person was selling gold and services, they should delete the account associated with that character immediately, and then it gets removed from the list because the player doesn't exist anymore. That's what I think should happen.
Problem solved. Thanks, Dustin.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for having our back, Dustin, and hopefully you aren't too pissed at us. We didn't quite pick on you as much as we could have, but we love you.
We don't know you that well enough yet, so
yeah,
we might pick on you a little down the road after you've posted more comments.
Right. All right. So next topic, moddable UI. They had a poll, how moddable should the UI be? And I feel it should be extremely moddable.
Right. I do too. I guess the question becomes really, where do you draw the line and how much information do you put in the UI? You don't want it moddable enough so that gold farmers can actually macro everything and, basically write programs that automate a character to go gather and do all this stuff, which, some games allow, which is bad. The way I think of it is if you're not playing the character, you shouldn't be playing the character.
Right.
So you gotta limit macros in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I think the UI should be incredibly moddable. Just like, EverQuest, they've changed it so that you can mod the UI. EverQuest 2, the UI is moddable to an extreme extent. SOE is very, very good about being able to mod, and I think they limit it enough so that you can't really macro and do a lot of stuff that allows gold farmers to automate things. So
right. Well, if the dev team at EQN, if they're going to just give us one hotbar, I'm going to want to have a third party just add more hotbars. Whether or not they're actually, I can bind buttons to them. If I can, great. If not, then I'll just click on them. I just want them there.
Right. I would like to see, if they don't want to provide them, they should at least allow the ability for other people to add hotbars and shortcuts to them.
That would be great.
For maybe not combat abilities, but I can't see why that wouldn't be allowed. Because sometimes you might want to macro 2 of them together or whatever. I don't know. Of course, that means. Of course, I guess you could probably have more abilities on the hotbar and use them all at once, which kind of defeats the entire purpose. Once again, though, I don't know what they're doing with the abilities, so I can't really even comment on that.
We're pretty much in the
but I definitely want to be able to shortcut emotes, things that happen all the time that you I mean, I don't want to go through menus to do a bunch of stuff.
Right.
I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Especially if you got to call your mount wicked fast and you're going through menus and
Right.
shit. I mean, that's just you're gonna die.
Right. I hate it. I hated it in Star Wars Galaxies, and I finally created freaking macros for all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent hours figuring that crap out and researching online just so I had a shortcut to it and didn't have to right click anymore.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was a pain. So, moddable UI to me
is a must.
Definite must.
Oh,
Gotta have the moddable UI.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Some people want more, some people want less.
Let them mod it the way they want.
Right.
Last cast, we talked about like a bar fight type thing you can do in a tavern, the strip tavern, which you guys really need to put in the strip tavern. And I've made a whole section about mini games, so I'm going to let you take it away.
Right. So this kind of made me brainstorm. And I know people do this in games already, but then you have problems with who holds the money and, you know, who decides who wins. And we all know that most of the time it's all fine, but then you get occasionally those people who are not on the up and up and they take your money, you know, and you never see them again. So I thought, how could you come up with a system to allow players to have, you know, like these backroom bar fights and actually promote it? Or, you know, even, you know, like they have tournaments or even like an election. You know, you could use the same system, so you could have guild elections or officer elections or what have you. You know, or, you know, if they're doing like some type of, you know, art contest or building contest, they, you know, so you get to vote on whose house is the coolest or whatever. You could do this in game by setting this up and then award a prize to whoever won. Okay, so my idea was for these types of things, you could have a special type of group. So you could have a regular group, you can have your raid groups, and then there could be a special group type. And then within this group type, you could define things like the group size, and maybe that's based on like a sub, you know, like the win parameters. So you could have a vote-based group, you could have a combat tournament type of group, or a random winner chosen by the system. So you could actually have lotteries, you know, so a lottery tickets, you know, or you put in like a gold or whatever, and then all of us, you know, when the drawing is over at a certain date, the system automatically chooses the winner and awards them the gold. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with it. So you have your vote-based system, ballot-based election, where the people that are added to the group, and you could also have them open or closed, so that would have to be invite or like a public group. So you could just join, maybe have some type of bulletin board system, like, you know, you go into a town and, you know, you have a board where people post things. You could put it up there so people could find these things and have some way to actually get to it and add to the group or whatever, you know. And then you could have from those different types, the vote, the combat, and the random winner type, you could have a definable win purse where you could do items, coins, or both. That way, you know, you could do that. You have a definable entry fee, so it's 10 gold to enter the tournament, and then you're signed up. So, and you maybe even have parameters on the criteria if it's an open group, like maybe if it's a tournament that's open to everybody, that would be one thing, but maybe you might have level restrictions, so it's only players of level 10. You could tier it so that you would have multiple tournaments through the levels, but you'd probably want to create multiple groups for that. And then, you know, you could define things like the level needed, the entrance fee that would have to be required, maybe a specific class. Maybe it's only going to be wizards that are going to duke it out. So, you know, maybe you want to limit it to that. So I think there's a possibility to have a system that could be kind of cool and add some diversity to the game, you know, and keep people from cheating, but also add some flavor to the game by having these special definable groups, you know, for tournaments and votes or ballot, an election system, and maybe even lottery system.
That'd be really cool to see. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so there was a dev diary about the landmark, materials, and tools.
Oh, I knew I forgot to do something. I didn't watch it.
Well, then I guess everyone's going to have to either watch it or rely on my word. Good luck there. But
I give my opinion. I always have an opinion.
Oh, I know.
Try to shut me up.
Let's see. So they are going to have tiered harvesting gear, and there are 5 tiers in that system. You're going to be beginning with for instance, with pickaxes, a copper pickaxe, so you can harvest tier 1 materials, tin and whatever, and iron. And then when you gather enough of those, you can make an iron pickaxe and get the next tier materials.
So I have a question. I was looking at this.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have to have a copper pickaxe to harvest copper, how do I get the copper pickaxe?
I think it's just something that you start off with. It's probably going to be something you buy from a vendor.
Right, but it kind of defeats the purpose of crafting.
I know.
And then how do you get iron? Create the iron pickaxe if you only have a copper one.
Well, the copper will, because the tier 0, I guess, would be like the copper.
Right.
Tier 1 is like tin and iron. So then you get those, and then you make the iron pickaxe to get, I don't know, obsidian and whatever.
All right, so maybe the initial beginner
right is
pickaxe
purchasable.
You can buy it, but everything after that you have to harvest, gather, and craft the next tier.
Yep, that's
okay. I
cool.
agree with that. I mean, that's pretty much the way Star Wars Galaxies was.
Yep.
You could buy low-level crap, and that was about it. After that, you were on your own.
Exactly. There's going to be 4 types of tools. You got the pickaxe, you got a sickle, an axe, and a bucket, which is new. That's going to be for liquids like lava and water. So that's very interesting, and I'm very interested to see how that's going to play out.
And this is just for harvesting.
Just for harvesting.
A pick, a sickle, an axe, and a bucket. That's interesting. Maybe they're thinking a bucket, like if you want to have a lava fountain or a water fountain,
maybe,
or something like that. Maybe that's what they're thinking, so you can harvest the lava.
Maybe that's interesting.
A little out there, but whatever.
And what kind of bucket? I mean, lava's molten rock.
Yeah, well, maybe I guess they'll be tiered also. So you first get a wooden bucket
with a
harvest
hoe.
Water, but you can't make anything out of water.
Right. I mean, so how the fuck did... Anyway.
I don't know.
It's gonna be
I guess we're going to have to wait and see on that one.
Right. So they also went through Dave Georgeson's keep in the video. Well, we already knew that you can mine into the world and dig it out, but we found out that you can make basements in these keeps. He actually went downstairs.
Cool.
Yeah, he actually went downstairs and there was a little garden that Dave put down there. There was also a forge in the house. Now, whether or not that's usable, we don't know, but it looked really cool. Going back to the basement, there was actually a tunnel, and he said someone broke into Dave's house, and there's a tunnel leading out from the house, from underneath the house. But he said that they're going to explore that on the next video, so we didn't really get any information on that at all. But could that lead to people breaking into your house? I guess depending on permissions. I don't know. I wonder if that's going to be a way around the permissions, which would be stupid. But now, how would that affect kind of like, we really don't care about them. Well, not really don't care about them, but we don't care about you PvPers. How would that affect PvP? Like in Star Wars Galaxies, you could lay down your house and hide in it, from a bounty hunter or whatever, and be safe. But in the PvP aspect, couldn't they tunnel underneath your house and get you? Kind of like a Tremor from Tremors?
I don't know. Maybe. But I would definitely like to see permissions on that. I mean,
me too.
Maybe it'd be different on a PvP server, but to me, that kind of goes against the whole thing because now you have a hole in your house.
Right. It's just the floor. But PvE wise, when we're storming a PvE castle and someone's taking the north gate, could we tunnel underneath the castle and start in the dungeon and work our way up?
Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. If everything's destructible, we could definitely tunnel and then bust through a wall. I don't see why not.
It's going to be very interesting.
Cool and interesting.
Yeah. different aspect on gameplay altogether.
Right. Yeah. So, well, I mean, that could also pose some serious problems for the developers.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with the AI, it would fix itself. But if you knew exactly what room X, boss mob was, you could just tunnel under the world, go through the wall, and skip everything else.
Right. But I don't know, unless that's just something from Landmark. But then
Right.
again, since they're using the same pretty much everything,
Right.
we'll find out later.
It's very possible. I mean, who knows?
Right. All right. Oh, wow, this is actually a lot quicker than I thought it would be.
Right.
The roundtable discussion, which happened pretty much right after the dev diary, they were talking about fast travel. They said that they're going to have a travel network implemented, but you must visit and unlock the points in the network first, which is great. That's exactly how it should be. And Vanguard did it before they dumbed it down. And pretty much that's one thing that the Old Republic got right before. Didn't they dumb that down now too?
I don't know. I haven't played the game in forever.
Right, it's been about a year, maybe.
Yeah.
8 months. They didn't really dumb it down. They just connected all of them because it was really stupid having to go to one to the other and then taking that one to another one.
Right.
That was stupid. But what they said, though, this network is not going to be an instant travel. It's going to be something like how in the Old Republic you took those speeders and you actually have to watch your guy fly around.
Right. And I believe I also heard them say that it wasn't going to be continuous. So if I am correct, what I think they were saying is that just because, like, say I'm at like Village A and I want to go to Freeport, I fly from Village A to Freeport, but my real destination is, say, Kinos,
right?
On the other side of the continent, I might have to, I might be able to travel to another small village through the system, but then I might have to use my mount to travel to the next village or whatever to catch another of these travel things to go. So I believe, if I remember the video correctly, they said it was not going to be you could travel from anywhere to anywhere.
Right.
Which I agree with 100%. Yeah. I think there should be a little bit of foot travel there. And they also said there will be instant travel, but it will be limited.
Extremely limited. I'm thinking
they're going to limit it to classes like they did in EverQuest, wizards and druids. I'm hoping.
Really? Because I think they might be talking about something different. I mean, maybe the instant travel is for everybody, but it's for like the main hubs, the main big ass towns.
They did say something about guilds.
Oh.
So, basically available to guilds or what have you. So I'm thinking that, the way guilds work, you kind of
summon to guild hall.
Maybe. I don't know. But I think it would be really cool if they had a system to where wizards could open portals for people and fast travel or teleport groups, and druids the same thing.
That would be pretty cool. We already said this before, but mounts are confirmed in the game. Thank you, Darren McPherson, for spilling that, which is great.
Right. Well, we don't know exactly what kind of mounts at this point. We just know that there will be mounts, which, is kind of a no-brainer in today's... I mean, they were in EverQuest. They're in EverQuest 2.
Yep.
They should definitely be in EverQuest next. I don't know a game today that comes out that doesn't have mounts.
Exactly. I mean, and they're also like a status symbol. I mean, it's like, well, look where I've been to collect this mount. I mean, it's really cool.
Right.
So you have to have them.
Yeah, I agree.
Which brings us to probably our final thing, unless we jump onto a different topic. How fucking tall is Darren McPherson? Seriously.
Right. He looks like a big guy.
he's a giant. But then again, how short is Omid Dariani? Because that dude, he seems he's probably about the same height, maybe a little shorter than Mr. Butler, which again, we apologize for yelling at you on the last cast.
Right. We didn't mean it.
No, not at all. But yeah, that dude is tall. He's got to be like 6'2" or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he could be really tall. And maybe he's 6'7", and Omid is... 5'10". I don't know.
unless Darren takes a little milk crate with him wherever he goes and just stands on it.
He stands on it behind the table so you can't see it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe if you're listening, maybe on your next video you'll do that so you look even taller.
Right.
And then we'll know you're listening.
Do you remember those Naked Gun? Actually, they were. Yeah, they used the same character in the Naked Gun movies, but Police Squad, they had that really, really tall guy.
Right. Yeah,
So-
God, what was his name?
I don't know, but all you see is like
Hightower.
no, that's Police Academy.
Oh.
I'm talking about the Leslie Nielsen bit where the camera, all you saw was basically up to just the bottom, the very, very bottom of his chin, maybe. And he was always out of camera shot.
Oh, geez.
He was really, really
Yeah.
tall. But Hightower is really tall too.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's probably it. I don't really have anything else to talk about unless we missed something.
I don't think so.
Been kind of a strange week.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, I think that's all I have. I don't really have anything else to talk about. So, once again, if you guys have any suggestions for topics that we could talk about or, comments, please let us know.
Yes, please do. Yeah, I guess that's it. Shit. Sorry it's so short.
Right.
But that's the way the dice rolled, I guess,
Right. You can't have tons of stuff every week.
Right.
Doesn't happen that way.
But anyway, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. And Dustin, very glad that you have our back, man. We got your back too, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Nightbreed Cast with your hosts, Isa Drift and Avago. From all of us at the Nightbreed Studios, thanks for listening. And as always, thank you, Internet.